What is up, everybody? Can you guys hear me okay? I was having some audio problems here a few minutes ago. Hopefully, you can hear me just fine. What's up, Ray? Pam, Tammy, good to see you. Patricia, Mama Styles, Music Man VH. Thank you. Marbles, She Warrior. D, what's up? Do you guys like the question? Whose side did you take in the big David Lee Roth and Van Halen split? Looks like Mike had the right answer. Marbles is a cop for sure. Mama style. We got another cop. Definitely a cop. Just kidding. Jerry, what's up? Oh, for sure. It was a trick question. Rescue all the dogs. What is up? Lori Camaro, good to see you. Pam, how are you? She Warrior. Rain Dancer Purdue, good to see you. True Crime Mama, what is up? D. Anna, hey. Susan, Julianne, Boston, MDR. MDR got it right. David Lee Roth all the way. MDR is definitely not a cop. Got my eye on all you little undercover. What's up, Violet? Yo, what's up, Tech? Tech Death Hippie in the building. All right, we'll hang out for about 15 minutes and then we'll get started. All the audio is pre-recorded. Took me a while because I screwed up a lot. It's still not where I like it. The audio is not it's not the best, but I think it'll work for what we're trying to do here today. So for a while, all the information as far as the search warrant of Richard Allen that we had was a very redacted PCA. We had no names, very limited pieces of information. Well, because of a recent information and document dump basically provided by Goal, the help, I think, of Murder Sheets, or at least Greenlee, we discovered that there, through a back and forth between the defense and the prosecution, and more of the prosecution trying to explain to the judge, like, hey, this is why we think the search warrant's legit and why it was constitutional. But in doing that, they went ahead and provided these documents that had a lot of information in them that wasn't provided in, let's say, another version of the PCA, or vice versa. For example, the word knife. Let me see where that first was mentioned. Okay, so that was first mentioned in the state's objection to defendant's motion to suppress. So they were asking the judge, hey, we need this all thrown out. Everything associated with this search warrant needs to get tossed out. And they provided the reasons why. And then prosecution, in their response, had to give a detailed response. And that's when we heard about Dan Doolin. We heard the word knife for the first time. And then in another document, or I think in another motion similar to this one, they added some other information, like Libby's phone was under her, that the trophies that were taken were underwear and a sock. And there was also an updated probable cause affidavit where they mentioned confessions. and also Richard Allen eating paper. So what I did was I just put all that together. What's up, V Marie? Little one, what's going on? Boston Christian is asking, Sleuth, did Kelsey say they were playing Heathens by 21 Pilots on the way to the Monon High Bridge? Yes, I do remember her saying that. I don't think there's any significance to that. What's up, Heather Marie? WL22, howdy. Howdy. Hey, that's a good way to spend some time. What was your answer? So we're about the 7-minute mark right now. I'll say at the 15-minute mark, I'll go ahead and play the pre-recorded. It's basically a slideshow and some audio that I put together. It's going to seem weird at first, and this is why. Let me share my screen here. Okay, so you're going to kind of hear me spouting out numbers. And this is why. This is the state's objection to defendant's motion to suppress. And I basically begin right here. Then I think after 2 full pages of this, I go right into the PCA that they attach to this. And the only thing I really redacted, and I wouldn't even say redacted, I just abbreviated, was any of the witnesses that were juveniles at the time. What's up, Jari? Oh, replay crew it is. We'll catch you on the flip side, Jari. What's up, Peruvian? Hey, what's going on, Beach Fairy? Welcome. All right. Glad to have you. Hang out while you can. Cheryl Kelly. Hello. All right. We're just about at the 10-minute mark. Bear with me here. We will get going in just a few. What's up, DP? So he took one sock. I can guess what that sick bastard did. Who knows? Leslie, what's going on? Welcome, everybody. Who am I missing? Oh, Danielle, welcome. Sam Cooley, in the place to be. All right, let me get this ready to go here. If you cannot hear this audio, please let me know, or if it seems really loud. Man, I was having some troubles with this. Sometimes things just do not want to work. You know what I mean? Von T, what up? Stephanie, what up? That's basically what he is. Miss C.D. Isaacs. Hey. Okay, so through these documents, it looks like we now know that it was a knife that was used. Previously, it was a sharp object or something with a sharp edge, sharp edged object. We now know that it was, in fact, a knife, not some kind of hatchet or katana, unless you can consider that a knife, I guess. Happy Labor Day. Welcome, Barbara. Rain Dancer, apparently some of the best enhancements we have not seen. And there also may have been some satellite help that we haven't seen. Bismo Funyuns, what's up? Frank Meister in the house, what up? So you'll be doing labor. Well, glad you can catch the stream at least, you know. All right, the clock is ticking here. 2-minute warning. Oh, and something else I want to talk about at some point during the live stream. And I'll throw it out there so you guys can kind of ponder on it. If Richard Allen came forward, I think it was the day after the murders, spoke with Dan Doolin, seems to have spoken about it to some people around him openly that he was there that day, came back and re-interviewed and admitted to it. So he obviously had no clue that there was the 40 caliber unspent shell there, the bullet. But why was he so confident that his DNA was not present at the crime scene? Otherwise, he would never have come forward. Why was he so confident about that? Did he take measures to cover it up? Is that what was going on with the clothes and all that stuff in the water? Did he use a chemical agent? Or do they have his DNA? And he was just confident and knew that it wasn't in the system. But if he came forward and said, hey, look, I was there that day, I mean, I don't understand why they didn't get a DNA swab from him. And even if they did, would it have matched to anything? Because they went around taking everybody's DNA. Junk Journal Junkie, what's up? I think hopefully we'll know why. Hopefully he'll confess. He'll tell his half truth, which is probably the best we can expect. All right, guys, we are at the 15-minute mark. Let me just catch up on the chat and we'll get going. We may stop and go here and there, and we may not. But for those of you who want to hear it without interruptions, I will put this out as a video right after the live stream. And you can watch it at your leisure without all of the extra live stream stuff. What's up, Vertigo? How you doing? Real Truth says they have DNA, they don't have Rick's DNA. All right, we are all caught up. Let me know if you guys cannot hear this. State's objection to defendant's motion to suppress. Okay, let me know. Was that really loud? Was it low? Was it high? All right, thank you. Here we go. State's objection to defendant's motion to suppress. Now comes the state of Indiana by prosecuting attorney Nicholas C. McClelland, and respectfully objects to the defendant's motion to suppress and would ask the court to deny the same, and in support of said motion states the following. That on May 19th, 2023, the defendant filed a motion to suppress the evidence seized as a result of a search warrant executed on the home of the defendant on October 13th, 2022. 2. That the defense alleges that the search warrant was unreasonable under the Indiana and federal constitution and that it lacked probable cause, that it failed to establish that the items to be seized were in the residence or could be expected to be in the residence, that the affidavit failed to provide particular information that particular items related to a particular crime would be found in the home, and that the affidavit failed to connect generic items to actual items that were possibly used in the crime. 3. That in September 2022, while reviewing the evidence in the investigation into the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German, investigators discovered an interview that was done with Richard Allen in 2017 by Indiana Conservation Officer Dan Doolin. 4. That in the 2017 interview, Richard Allen admitted being on the trail the day that Abigail Williams and Liberty German went missing. 5. That he stated that he was on the trail between 1:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m., and that while he was on the trail, he was using his phone. 6. That on October 13th, 2022, investigators invited Richard Allen and his wife Kathy Allen to speak to them and follow up on that interview done in 2017. 7. That both Richard Allen and Kathy Allen came to the interview on their own on October 13th, 2022, were not under arrest, and were free to leave the interview at any time. 8. The investigators learned from those interviews that Richard Allen reaffirmed that he was in fact on the trails that day that Abby Williams and Liberty German went missing, and further admitted to being on the High Bridge. That he also told investigators that he was wearing blue jeans and a blue or black Carhartt jacket with the hood, and that he was wearing a head covering. That was 9. 10. That further, Richard stated that he did own guns and that the guns were in his home. 11. That investigators learned from Kathy that Richard Allen still had guns and knives in the home, along with the blue Carhartt jacket. 12. That investigators believed a firearm was involved in the abduction and murder of Abigail Williams and Liberty German because the unspent .40 caliber round was found between the bodies of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. 13. That investigators believed a knife was used in the murder of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. 14. That the clothes that Richard Allen described wearing the day he was on the trails matched the description of the man seen on the bridge from the video taken by Liberty German's phone. 15. That it was also gathered that Richard Allen still possessed the firearms, knives, and the clothing, and said items were in his house. 16. That based on this information, investigators prepared a probable cause affidavit with the search warrant for the home of Richard Allen. 17. That the probable cause affidavit covers all the information that law enforcement had gathered in the investigation up until October 13th, 2022. 18. that investigators applied for the search warrant on October 13th, 2022, and the same was granted that day by Carroll County Circuit Court Judge Benjamin Diener, herein attached as State Exhibit 1. 19. Investigators went to the residence of defendant located at 1967 North Whiteman Drive, Delphi, Indiana, knocked on the door and executed the search warrant around 5 p.m. on October 13th, 2022, and the search warrant was complete around 7:09 p.m. 20. The defendant and his wife were asked to be out of the residence while the search warrant was executed, but were allowed back in the residence immediately afterwards. 21. Investigators found several items in the residence, including firearms and electronic devices, all of which is outlined in the search warrant. Return attached herein as State's Exhibit 2. Okay, now here is kind of where I kind of Frankensteined all the different probable cause affidavits that were that you can find within that little document dump here recently. I found all the pertinent information and just kind of smushed it together. So here you go. That on Monday, February 13th, 2017, at approximately 1:50 p.m., Abigail and Liberty German were dropped off by a family member at the Monon High Bridge Trail off of County Road 300 North. On Tuesday, February 14th, 2017, at approximately 12:17 p.m., the girls were found deceased. Their bodies were located in the woods northeast of the Monon High Bridge. Autopsies of the girls ruled their deaths as a homicide, and their wounds were caused by a sharp object. Investigators located Liberty German's iPhone 6S under her body at the scene and were able to recover a video approximately 43 seconds in length, captured at 2:13 p.m. on February 13th, 2017. The video depicts Abby walking on the Monon High Bridge towards Liberty, while a male subject wearing a dark jacket and jeans walks behind her. Near the end of the video, the man is heard in the video telling the girls down the hill. Through further investigation of the location of the bodies, investigators also located a .40 caliber unspent round. They also determined that the articles of clothing from the girls were missing from the scene, including a pair of underwear and a sock. Through the investigation, there were interviews done with 3 of the 4 girls that were on the trails that day. The girls observed a male on the trails on February 13th, 2017 that matched the description of the male on the video recorded by Liberty German. The 3 girls identified as RV, BW, and AS encountered this male near the bench east of the Freedom Bridge. The girls were on the trail and were walking towards the Freedom Bridge to go home. The male they encountered was walking from the Freedom Bridge towards the Monon High Bridge. One of the girls, identified as AS, described the male as an older man walking on the trails as they were leaving, and she described him as kind of creepy. In a text from Anna to KB, AS described the man as wearing like blue jeans, like really light blue jacket. His hair was gray, maybe a little brown, and he did not really show his face. Investigator Steve Mullen and Brent Ingram interviewed AS, and she described the male as wearing a blue jacket and light blue faded blue jeans. The jacket was a canvas duck type jacket. RV was also in the group of 4 girls, and she said that she said hi to the man and he just glared at them. She recalled him being in all black and had something covering his mouth. RV recalled telling her sister that someone was in a grumpy mood. She went on to describe him as not very tall and bigger build. She said that he was not bigger than 5'10". RV went on to say in an interview that he was wearing a black hoodie, black jeans, and black boots. She said that he had his hands in his pockets. An interview was conducted in 2020 of BW. She was able to show investigators a picture that she took on her phone of the Monon High Bridge with the timestamp of 12:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. BW showed investigators another picture she took at the bench just east of the Freedom Bridge when they were leaving at 1:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. BW stated after she took the picture at the bench, they started walking back towards the Freedom Bridge. BW stated that's when they walked past a man that matched the description of the individual in the picture. Detective Liggett believes the picture that she was referring to is the picture law enforcement released of the man on the bridge, taken from the video Liberty captured on her cell phone on the day of the murders. BW described the man as wearing a blue or black windbreaker jacket. She stated the jacket had a collar and he had his hood up from the clothing underneath the jacket. BW advised he was wearing baggy jeans and was taller than her. She stated her head came up to approximately his shoulder. BW said RV said hi to the man and he said nothing back. BW described the man as walking with a purpose, like he knew where he was going. BW also stated the man had his hands in his pockets and kept his head down. She didn't get a good look at his face, but believed he was a white male. As the girls left, they crossed the Freedom Bridge and the railroad bridge over Old SR 25. And an individual by the name of Betsy Blair was returning to the trails to finish her walk. Betsy Blair is seen on the video at Hoosier Harvest Store on 300 North, traveling eastbound on the trailhead to park at 1:46 actual time. Blair saw the girls walking above and she went under the railroad bridge. On September 21st, 2022, Detective Liggett was provided a tip narrative from Orion Den C 000074-01 to review. It was from the DNR Lieutenant Dan Doolin. The narrative was as follows. Mr. Allen was on the trail between 1:30 and 3:30. He parked at the old Farm Bureau building and walked to the new Freedom Bridge. While at the Freedom Bridge, he saw 3 females and noted one was taller and had brown or black hair. He did not remember the description, nor did he speak with them. He walked from the Freedom Bridge to the High Bridge. He did not see anybody, although he stated he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked. He stated there were vehicles parked at the High Bridge Trail, however, did not pay attention to them. He did not take any photos or video. His cell phone did not list an IMEI, but did have the following: MEID-256 691 463 100 153 495 and MEID HEX 990024 702 5797. Potential follow-up information. Who were the 3 girls walking in the area of the Freedom Bridge? Through the statement of Mr. Allen, he admits that on February 13th, 2017, he parked his vehicle at the old Farm Bureau building from 1:30 to 3:30 and was on the trails at that time. There is no old Farm Bureau building anywhere close to the trails or bridges. Detective Liggett believes he is referring to the old Child Protective Services building. In 2017, Richard Allen owned a 2016 black Ford Focus and a 2006 gray Ford 500. Upon review of the video collected from the Hoosier Harvest Store on February 13, 2017, investigators were able to locate a vehicle that appears to match Allen's 2016 Ford Focus on the video at 1:27 actual time. This coincides with Allen saying he was at the trails around 1:30. Previously said above, RV, BW, and AS were leaving the trails and passed by a male matching the description of the male in the video taken by Liberty. Given the statements by Allen and the timestamp of the video from the Hoosier Harvest Store and the statements by 3 of the 4 girls, Detective Liggett believes that the male the 3 of the girls saw was in fact Richard Allen. Allen stated that after he passed the girls and then he walked to the Monon High Bridge and saw nobody else. Investigators believe that after passing the Hoosier Harvest Store at 1:46, Blair parked at the trailhead entrance across from the Mears residence. In her interview, she says there are no other cars at the trailhead entrance at that time. She walked to the Monon High Bridge and a male matching the male from Liberty's video. She described him as a white male wearing blue jeans and a blue jean jacket. This matches the blue duck canvas jacket AS describes. Blair said that the male was standing on the first platform of the Monon High Bridge approximately 50 feet away from her. Blair turned around at the bridge and continued her walk. Approximately halfway between the bridge and the main hub of the trails, she passed 2 girls walking towards the High Bridge. Blair said that she believed it was Liberty German and Abigail Williams. At 1:49 on the Hoosier Harvester video, there is a white car that matches Kelsey German's vehicle. Liberty and Abigail would have been dropped off right before this video. Blair finished her walk and is seen on the Hoosier Harvester video leaving westbound at 2:14. Blair said that she saw no adults other than the male on the bridge. As Blair was leaving, she noted a vehicle was parked in an odd manner at the old Child Protection Service building. She said that it was not odd for vehicles to be parked there, but it was odd that it was backed in near the building. She said that vehicles often use the south edge of the parking lot so they are closer to the trail to get to the Freedom Bridge. Detective Liggett reviewed a tip DIN-C001751 from Terry Wilson. Wilson was on his way to Delphi on February 13, 2017 on the Hoosier Heartland Highway at approximately 2:10. He observed what he described as a purple PT Cruiser or a small SUV type vehicle parked on the south side of the old CPS building. Wilson said that it was backed in to conceal the license plate of the vehicle. During their interview, both Blair and Wilson drew a diagram and had the vehicle they saw parked in the same general area or manner. And an interview was done of Sarah Carbaugh in 2017. She states that she was traveling east on 300 North and observed a male subject walking west on the north side of 300 North, away from the Monon High Bridge. She stated that he was wearing a blue-colored jacket and blue jeans and was muddy and bloody. She further stated that it appeared that he had gotten into a fight. Investigators determined from the video that she was on 300 North at 3:57 p.m. Richard M. Allen was interviewed by investigators on October 13, 2022 at the Investigation Center. He was interviewed by Detective Liggett and Carroll County Prosecutor Investigator Stephen Mullen. He agreed to come to the center and speak with investigators. He was advised his rights, and he was further advised that he was not under arrest and was free to go. Investigator Mullen explained to him how to leave the center if he so desired. He stated that he was in fact on the trails on February 13, 2017. He further stated that he saw 3 girls on the trails east of the Freedom Bridge and also that he went on the Monon High Bridge. He also told the investigator that he was wearing blue jeans and a blue or black Carhartt jacket with a hood on that day. He stated he also wore some type of head covering. He further claimed that he saw no one else but the 3 girls that he observed east of the Freedom Bridge. Further, prior to the interview, he told investigators that he also had guns at his home. Richard M. Allen's wife, Kathy Allen, spoke to investigators as well. She confirmed that Richard did have guns and knives at the residence. She also stated that Richard still has a blue Carhartt jacket. The evidence gathered shows that on February 13, 2017, that 4 girls, RV, BW, AS, and IV, were on the trail when they observed a male individual walking on the trails towards the Monon High Bridge. The male was wearing clothes similar to the clothes of the male depicted in the video taken from Liberty German's phone. Investigators know that this male is the last known individual to have contact with Liberty German and Abigail Williams before they were murdered. Further, Betsy Blair was shown a picture of the individual on the Monon High Bridge, and she says that's the same individual that she witnessed on the trails and on the bridge. In an interview with Richard M. Allen done on October 13, 2022, he admits that he was in fact on the trails on February 13, 2017, and walked past 3 girls and continued on the Monon High Bridge. He stated that he was physically on the bridge. After Betsy Blair sees this individual, there are several other individuals on the trail that don't observe the man or Liberty German or Abigail Williams. Sarah Carbaugh then observes a man walking down 300 North with a blue jacket and jeans, and that he is muddy and bloody, as if he had just been in a fight. She is shown a picture of the man on the bridge, and she stated it's the same man she observed walking on 300 North. Investigators believe that Richard M. Allen is the last individual to have contact with Liberty German and Abigail Williams. Investigators further believe that Richard M. Allen is the individual depicted on the Monon High Bridge from the video taken from Liberty German's phone. Investigators believe Richard Allen was not seen on the trail after 2:13 p.m. because he was in the woods with victim 1 and victim 2. An unspent .40 caliber round between the bodies of victim 1 and victim 2 was forensically determined to have been cycled through Richard Allen's Sig Sauer Model P226. The Sig Sauer Model P226 was found at Richard Allen's residence, and he admitted to owning it. Investigators were able to determine that he had owned it since 2001. Richard Allen stated he had not been on that property where the unspent round was found, and he did not know the property owner, and that he had no explanation as to why the round cycled through his firearm would be at that location. Furthermore, he stated that he never allowed anyone to use or borrow the Sig Sauer Model P226. Investigators believe that after the victims were murdered, Richard Allen returned to his vehicle by walking down CR 300 North. Investigators believe he was seen by Sarah Carbaugh walking back to his vehicle on CR 300 North with clothes that were muddy and bloody. Tony Leggett, along with investigators, believe the statements made by the witnesses because they corroborate the timeline of the death of two victims, as well as coincide with the admissions made by Richard Allen. Further, the accounts relayed by Betsy Blair, RV, BW, and AS are similar in nature, and timestamps of photographs taken by BW correspond to the times the juvenile female said they were on the trail and saw the male individual. Investigators believe Richard M. Allen committed this kidnapping, which resulted in the killing of victim 1 and victim 2. From their prior conclusions, investigators believe Richard M. Allen was the male depicted on victim 2's video saying, "Guys, down the hill." They believe Richard M. Allen was carrying his Sig Sauer Model P226 on that date due to the cycled round matching that firearm was located within feet of victim 2's body. They further believe he was carrying a Sig Sauer Model P226 from the audio from victim 2's video, in which investigators believe they hear the sound of a gun being cycled and one of the victims mentioning a gun. Investigators believe after that time, victim 1 and victim 2 were removed from the bridge by Richard to where their murders occurred. Charges were filed against Richard M. Allen on October 28, 2022, for 2 counts of murder. Once Richard M. Allen was taken into custody, he was moved to the Westville Correctional Facility, which is part of the Indiana Department of Corrections, for safekeeping. He has been in said facility since November of 2022. When Richard M. Allen entered the facility, he was placed in the segregation unit for his protection. In the segregation unit, his cell is equipped with a video recorder which records his activities within the cell. There are also logs indicating when Richard M. Allen leaves the cell and for what purposes. He is also being seen by medical providers and mental health specialists to evaluate his physical condition and monitor his mental health. Richard M. Allen also has the ability to use a tablet in his cell and send text messages, make phone calls, and listen to music. Upon Richard M. Allen's arrival to the facility, he was placed on watch because of certain statements he made about harming himself. Throughout his stay, his mental health improved to the point that he was taken off of watch. He was also participating in recreation time and beginning to exercise. The facility reports that he was doing well and that they had no issues or concerns. His day-to-day demeanor was that he was quiet, read a lot of books, did crossword puzzles, and exercised daily. On April 3rd, 2023, Richard M. Allen made a phone call to his wife, Kathy Allen. In that phone call, Richard M. Allen admits several times that he killed Abby and Libby. Investigators had the phone call transcribed, and the transcription confirms that Richard M. Allen admits that he committed the murder of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. He admits several times within the phone call that he committed the offenses as charged. His wife, Kathy Allen, ends the phone call abruptly. Soon after, attorneys for Richard M. Allen filed an emergency motion to modify safekeeping order. In that motion, the defense states that Richard M. Allen's mental state has declined because Westville Correctional Facility is unfit and that he should be moved. Defense also makes allegations that his mental health has declined due to the point where Richard M. Allen has been deprived of his constitutional right to assist in his defense of this case. Further, defense alleges that his mental capacity has declined because of his incarceration at Westville Correctional Facility. Defense has also challenged that his treatment is unconstitutional. Soon after, investigators were made aware by the warden of Westville Correctional Facility that Richard M. Allen began to act strangely. Richard M. Allen was wetting down paperwork he had gotten from his attorneys and eating it. He was refusing to eat and refusing to sleep. He would go days on end refusing to sleep. He further broke the tablet that he used for text messages and phone calls. He went from making up to 2 phone calls a day as of April 3rd, 2023, to not making any phone calls at all. To date, Richard M. Allen still has not made a phone call since April 3rd, 2023. On April 14th, 2023, Richard M. Allen was evaluated by 2 psychiatrists and 1 psychologist to discuss his turn in behavior and whether or not there was a need for involuntary medication. The panel would also discuss moving Richard M. Allen to a different facility that has a psychiatric unit. From that meeting, it was determined that Richard M. Allen did not need involuntary medication and that he did not need to be moved to another facility. Since that meeting, Richard M. Allen is now sleeping and eating. His behavior is returning to what was prior to making the admission on April 3rd, 2023. There you have it. Something that I missed. Well, I didn't miss, but I forgot to add it to my list here. Let me go back to it. I timestamped it at about the 20-minute mark. And I could be reading into this way too much. In the killing of Victim 1 and Victim 2, the Sig Sauer Model P226. This is because they corroborate the timeline of the death of 2 victims, as well as coincide with the admissions made by Richard Allen. Further, the accounts relayed by Betsy Blair, RV, BW, and AS. Okay, right here. The way they word this is a little strange. Are similar in nature, and timestamps of photographs taken by BW correspond to the times the juvenile female said they were on the trail and saw the male individual. Right here. Investigators believe Richard M. Allen committed this kidnapping. Which resulted in the killing. Why do they say it that way? Is it just because that's what would stick with what they have? Or are they trying to tell us a part of the story right here? Trail and saw the male individual. Investigators believe Richard M. Allen committed this kidnapping, which resulted in the killing of Victim 1 and Victim 2. So it's almost as if, hey, if you wouldn't have taken them off of that bridge at gunpoint and taken them over there across the creek, they would have never been murdered by somebody. But that could be, I don't know. I'm confused by that, honestly. Is that all they could, is that the charge that they could make stick? Or is that telling us what happened? That's the part he played. Is that why he had no concern about the DNA? It's like, I really didn't touch him. You know, my job was to get them down the hill, cross that creek, where I knew there was a sandbank. You know, right here. It's not too cold today. Or am I looking into that way too much? I think I might. Let's listen to it one more time. Trail and saw the male individual. Investigators believe Richard M. Allen committed this kidnapping, which resulted in the killing of victim 1 and victim 2, committed this kidnapping. What do you guys think? Telling us part of the story, or Sleuth is looking into things way too much as usual? Should make that the poll, huh? Barbara says, wonder what she saw him doing on the platform. Was he on his phone or just standing there? Yeah, for all we know, if he is a lone wolf killer, he could have followed her. She walks up to the bridge, they see each other, she goes back onto the trail system. He then begins to stalk her. And as he's stalking her, she's on her way out. And then here comes Abby and Libby, and he's like, well, wait, she's leaving, going out there towards the street. I don't want to be over there. They're coming directly where I need, a potential victim to come. Hypothetically. Hey, what's up, Willow? Happy Labor Day. Dove Magic, what's up? You made it, Jari. I knew you could. I knew you'd cut some corners for us. What's going on, Chopper? Wonder if Richard Allen take the paper off his chewing gum. Yeah, why was he doing that? We did a live stream on why people in custody do that. Some do it to hide evidence. Some do it to testify, or not to testify, but to protest. They promised a source or something. I would never divulge their name, and there might be one document that has their name, and they eat it. That's actually a true story, by the way. A detective did that. Thanks, Barbara. Yeah, so all of you who don't have the time or aren't as interested in the case as I am, and didn't want to go through each and every one of the PCAs word by word, there you have it. Thanks, Leslie. We got a sponsor for today's live stream, Leslie Kingston. Thank you. You rock. So we'll probably hang out another 15 minutes. Like to get your guys' opinions on anything you missed. We heard the word knife for the first time. It was confirmed that it was Dan Doolin. A lot of people had that right from the beginning. Libby's phone was actually under her body. Previously, the understanding or the consensus was that it was about 20 feet from where they were found. Underwear and a sock. So I'm assuming that's missing and has nothing to do with the clothing that was found in the creek. So hopefully they found that at Richard Allen's home. And then, of course, the confessions. Richard Allen eating paper. And then for the first time, them really confirming the aggravating factor. That what he did led to the murders, not that he physically committed the murders. And that does make sense if he was talking to his wife like, hey, I got them killed. But I'm not sure if that's just the way they have to word it. It's a technicality to make sure that it sticks, that they can hold him and they can make sure he goes to trial and he's going to face serious time. And then eventually maybe they can recharge him with something more serious. I'm a little confused on that part. V. Marie says, Willow, I'm just now even entertaining the lone wolf theory. Hiawatha, what's up? Hey, he kidnapped them, tried to R them, and they fought. He killed them. The likely scenario. And see, I'm not even sure. I don't know the motivation. There's so much we don't know about what happened. For all we know, they walked through the water, stood right there where they eventually were found, maybe were moved a little bit around that area, and were tricked or um, frozen by the gun, maybe blindfolded. In my mind, they ran, but I could be wrong about that. What's up, Sean? True crime and other stuff. Maybe he ate it so he would look crazy. Yeah, it's true. Maybe he ate it because he was crazy. Or what if he thought it was like the only copy or something, something really ridiculous. Like when he seen it, he was just so shocked by it, like he had to get rid of it. By somehow eating it, it would go away. Yeah, that's true, Mike. I forgot about that on that day. But then again, he could have known that they were going to track him to his CSAM activity. What's up, Mark? Do we know how often Richard Allen was at the trails prior to the murders? No, I've tried to look into that. I couldn't find anything. Apparently, he did have a Facebook, and I think, it went missing in like 2016. Like right around yeah, that's another thing a lot of people don't talk about. So he had an active Facebook, and it just up and disappeared right after the New Direction presser. Just vanished. Leslie, too bad Richard Allen didn't eat his tablet. I don't know if that's physically possible, is it? Um, that's a good point. Also, they do talk a lot about the fact that he was on a phone and they were looking for a specific device that was connected to his phone number. I don't know if it's because they had intel and they were interested in this device, or they just happened to know that that number was attached to his phone, and that's the one that they wanted. Fig says, I'm sure once KK discovered Libby and Abby were killed, he wanted to erase all communication with them. He was also committing a crime and knew their SM would be looked into. Yeah, he kind of figured probably that maybe he did at this. I think two things can be true at the same time. I think he recognized them, and then he said, "Oh man, those are two girls that I think it could be a lot worse. He could be connected, right? That I just don't know. I mean, we've tried. Um, Sleuths across the world have tried to connect Richard Allen to the Kleins. It hasn't been done. But him knowing that he's facing these crimes, being the scumbag that he is, he knows that eventually it's going to lead back to him. So that could even explain why he said when he got back from Las Vegas, I'm effed. He's like, I knew you guys were going to track me back. So he could have been doing that. And then also listening to the voice and truly being interested to see, like, oh, wow, maybe I do know this person. But I think everybody in that area was doing the same thing. So I don't know. Time will tell. What's up, Slatherings? Yeah, we're going to get out of here in about 5 minutes. Rain Dancer says, Detective Holman said he will do it again. So it means there is a strong psycho component with it. Well, as soon as Richard Allen was taken into custody, all of these retired FBI agents, these experts, right? These profilers, they said, hey, if Richard Allen did this and he acted alone, I just don't see how it's possible that he didn't commit a crime like this prior. So that's shocking to me, especially when we're looking into cases like Jordan Sofer and the Flora fires, all these crazy things local. And we know, killers tend to evolve. Gateway crimes, Flora fires did happen prior to Delphi, and it was an arson. So who knows? I haven't seen any connection, but you never know. Willow says, I think we all wish there was more of a detectable online presence. Yeah, just right there, easy and accessible. Like Kagan Klein, he just left it out there. But him, he kind of that kind of shows another reason why he might not be connected. He even though he kind of messed with those dates, that could have been, for the same reasons that he didn't want to get caught for the CSAM. But he never really tried to hide his Facebook or anything. And I don't think Tony did either until people started looking into him. Hey, what's up, Jaded? Frederica, what is going on? Rain Dancer, he also said, you don't want your daughter, your sister to be a victim. He already addressed females as victims. What's up, Ruckus? Welcome. Sean says, we still don't know the real cause of death. Where are the unredacted documents located? Link. If you go to Twitter and subscribe or follow Allen County in Indiana, and then type in Delphi documents in the search bar, you should find it, and then you can download it. It's hundreds of pages of information pertaining to the case. Rain Dancer, for some reason I'm just not sure about that, and I don't know why. I'm not convinced either way yet. If a grown man kidnaps children, it's for a sexual purpose. I mean, we cover a lot of cases and we see a lot of strange things. We're definitely not going to stay in a box. You know what I mean? Love to see charges against whoever else is getting charged. If there seems to be no motive, that always confused me. Yeah, that always brings me back to what Robert Ives says. He's like, man, we thought we would find this guy right away. Crime scene is kind of strange. Like, man, it just doesn't make any sense. We can't figure out what the motive is. And now we see Richard Allen kind of having a little mental health situation. Maybe he was even worse at that time. So maybe he couldn't even explain it. He woke up the next day and he's like, man, I know what happened, but I can't tell you why. Maybe he was hallucinating or something. Hiawatha, he made them go down the hill, kidnapping, and then they were murdered. Had he not kidnapped them, they wouldn't have been murdered. Definition of felony murder. I'm doubting that will come to fruition, D. Unfortunately, hey, Cheryl. But then who was covered in blood? Well, they're saying it was him. Going back, walking in the direction of where his vehicle was parked. And if he's covered in mud and blood getting back into his vehicle, I think it's safe to assume there's some DNA somewhere in that car. So I wonder if they were able to find anything inside the vehicle. And also, what did he do with all of his clothing? I'm assuming he burned it, maybe? Yeah, me too, Chopper. All right, guys. That's it for today's live stream. Thanks for hanging out. I might edit that video, try to get all that cotton mouth, that. Sorry about that. I'm pretty much fueled on that Mary Jane, so that's what kept me going through that whole process. But I'll do a little bit of editing, try to get rid of some of the clicking of the mouse and stuff, and then I'll post the video. It'll probably be out tomorrow. So if you guys want to listen to that without coming to the live stream, it'll be available for you. If you could hit the like button on the way out, it's the easiest way for you to support my channel. And the replay crew, you know what to do. Leave a comment. We'll get back to you. Shout out to Leslie Kingston for sponsoring today's live stream. Appreciate you. Thanks, Ruckus. The Ruckus Report, 285 watching, 115 likes. Got some scrubs on the loose. If you see them, you know what to do. Leslie's part of the neighborhood block watch. Is there a way of saying the girls were taken away from the area and brought back without telling us? Hey, Big Bird. That's not what I'm getting from that. Thank you, Jar. Yeah, if anybody wants to shoot me an email, sleuthintuition@gmail.com. Miss CD says, I think this was a snuff film. Not sure. There is some evidence to suggest that, but nothing significant. Marbles. No irritation. That's funny, though. Thank you, Hiawatha. Yeah, once again, sorry about the cottonmouth, but really it's just about the information. So hopefully you can get past it and make up your mind. I think it's plenty of information. The witnesses are solid. They're not confused. Whether they can identify the man or not, they can tell us that the man that they saw is the same man that was in the video. And Richard Allen pretty much admitted that he is the guy that the girls witnessed on that trail. So there you have it. Slam dunk. And that might be the only reason why they're getting him with those types of charges, really. It's because of the way the evidence is laid out. Yeah. The whole Vegas stuff is very telling, but it's just all speculation. Wow, what if he could be a serial killer? I mean, the brutality of the Delphi murders and what happened to Abby and Libby is atrocious. Beyond atrocious. What's up, Mark? All right, guys, I'm going to catch up here on the chat and then I'm going to dip. What's up, Cat Sanctuary? Yeah, it could be. That's what the experts say. They agree with you. Yeah, I'm wondering if there could be another crime. Shit, for all we know, he smothered his brother-in-law or something. Something crazy, Something like out of the blue. Maybe even a crime when he was a kid. What's up, Amber? See, I think that could be possible, but I'm not convinced that there was others involved yet. I know McClelland and all of them say it, and if there is, I think it might have something to do with the DNA and the way they charged Richard Allen. But like I said, I'm still confused on that right now and why they did it that way. I agree, Rain Dancer. Later Slatherings. What's up, Apple? Thanks for hitting the thumbs. Later Ray. Yeah, when you going live, Ruckus? Nice, Slatherings. Yeah, I got some top shelf. And I'm just like kind of buzzing, like, ooh. You too, Willow. Most definitely. All right, guys. I cannot seem to catch up on the chat, but I am out of time. Shout out to everybody who caught the live replay crew. You guys rock as well. Leave a comment. Leslie, thank you again for sponsoring today's live stream. And everybody, I'll put together a video with some better audio. Let me do a little bit of editing. That was pretty much unedited. So maybe sometime tomorrow you can expect that if I can find the time. On that note, we are out of here. Peace, guys.